Assalamu alaikum. I am Muhammad Ali Hassan, Senior Lecturer, Department of Mathematics, Milestone College. I hope that student you are well. I am also well. You have learned, student, two types of mechanics. First type statics and second type dynamics. So I will discuss about statics. So let's go look at the board. Student, what do you mean by statics? If a body does not change its position with respect to time, then the body is called in rest, and state is called the condition of rest. With respect to applying the forces upon any body, statics is the branch of mechanics that deals with the condition of rest of a body does not experience acceleration but rather are in statics equilibrium with their environment. This is statics. Student, you have learned definition of force. For example, attraction between two objects, repulsion between two objects, tension, weight, etc. Unit of force in MKS system is the Newton. Unit of force in CGS system is the dyne, and unit of force in FPS system is the poundal. So student, memorize it. I say again, unit of force in MKS system is the Newton. Unit of force in CGS system is the dyne, and unit of force in FPS system is poundal. It's important conditions. I hope that student you are clear. Student, now I will discuss about resultant force. What is resultant force? Let P and Q be two forces. Let P and Q be two forces acting at a point O along OA and OB respectively, and their resultant force are acting at a point O along OC. I say again, student, in a figure, P and Q be two forces acting at a point O along OA and OB respectively, and their resultant force are acting at a point O along OC. So we can write R equals to sum of two forces P plus Q. This is resultant force. So resultant force R equals to P plus Q. I hope that student you are clear. Student, Parallelogram Law of Forces. If two forces acting simultaneously at a point can be represented in magnitude and direction along the two adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then the resultant force is represented both in magnitude and direction by the diagonal of the parallelogram passes through the point of intersection of those two forces. Here, let OABC is a parallelogram. OABC is a parallelogram. Let P and Q be two forces acting at a point O along OA and OB respectively. I say again, student, here OABC is a parallelogram, and let P and Q be two forces acting at point O along OA and OB respectively. Here OA equals to P and OB equals to Q. Then their resultant force are acting at a point O along OC. So OC equals to R. So student, according to Parallelogram Law of Forces, two forces represented by the magnitude and direction OC equals to R. I hope that student you are clear. Student, determination of magnitude and direction of two forces. So let OABC is a parallelogram. Let OABC is a parallelogram. Let P and Q be two forces acting at a point O along OA and OB respectively. And angle between two forces is alpha, and their resultant force are acting at a point O along OC, which makes an angle with OA is theta. Attention please student, I say again, let P and Q be two forces acting at a point O along OA and OB respectively. Angle between two forces is alpha, and angle AOB equals to alpha, and their resultant force are acting at a point O along OC, which makes an angle with OA is theta. So student, here angle AOB equals to alpha and angle AOC equals to theta. Then find the magnitude of a resultant force and direction of a resultant force. So we have, by the parallelogram theorem, we have magnitude of a resultant force R equals to root over P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos alpha. Here alpha is angle between two forces P and Q. So student, memorize it. R equals to root over P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos alpha. And direction theta equals to tan inverse Q sine alpha by P plus Q cos alpha. Here theta means resultant force R makes an angle with OA is theta. So theta equals to tan inverse Q sine alpha by P plus Q cos alpha. Here P plus Q cos alpha not equals to 0. So student, is important question for your exam. So memorize it. Here resultant force, magnitude of a resultant force R equals to root over P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos alpha, and direction theta equals to tan inverse Q sine alpha by P plus Q cos alpha. Condition number 1. If two forces P and Q acting in the same direction, look at the board student. Here two forces P and Q acting in the same direction, so angle between two forces is 0 degree. So alpha equals to 0 degree. Now putting the value of alpha is 0 in formula. So root over P square plus Q square 2pq cos 0 degree. Here angle between two forces is 0. Now putting the value of alpha is 0. Then we get resultant force R equals to root over p square plus q square plus 2pq. We know that cos 0 is 1. Using calculator, so cos 0 degree equals to 1. Then we can write R equals to root over p square plus q square plus 2pq, or then using formula a square plus 2ab plus b square, we know that a plus b whole square root cancel, so resultant force R equals to p plus q. So student attention please, here angle if two forces p and q acting in the same direction, so angle between two forces is alpha equals to 0. Now putting the value of alpha is 0, then we have R equals to p plus q. So angle between two forces is 0 degree, so resultant force equals to sum of two forces, which implies that R equals to p plus q. I hope that student you are clear. Condition number 2. If two forces P and Q acting and in the opposite direction, so let two forces P and Q acting in the opposite direction. So we know that angle between two forces is 180 degree. Angle between two forces is 180 degree. If two forces acting in the opposite direction, so alpha equals to 180 degree. Here P greater than Q. Here P greater than Q. So student, here alpha equals to 180 degree. Two forces P and Q acting in the opposite direction, so angle between two forces is 180 degree. Now putting the value of alpha equals to 180 degree, then we can write p square plus q square plus 2pq cos alpha. Alpha means 180 degree. So student, using calculator, what is the value of cos 180 degree? We know that cos 180 degree equals to -1. Now putting the value of cos 180 degree, so p square plus q square 2pq minus 1. So root over p square plus q square minus 2pq. So resultant force R equals to, then here using formula a square minus 2ab plus b square, so a minus b whole square. Here p greater than q, so R equals to p minus q when p greater than q. Here p greater than q. So student, if two forces acting in the opposite direction, so angle between two forces is 180 degree, then we have resultant force p minus q. Here p greater than q. So student, here memorize it. Two forces acting in the opposite direction, so resultant force R equals to p minus q when p greater than q. Similarly, we can write here p less than q greater than p, q greater than p, then we can write R equals to resultant force R equals to q minus p when q greater than p. So student, here two conditions. Resultant force R equals to p minus q when p greater than q, and resultant force R equals to q minus p when q greater than p. I say again student, if two forces acting in the opposite direction, so angle between two forces is alpha equals to 180 degree, then we get resultant force R equals to p minus q when p greater than q, and Resultant force R equals to Q minus P when Q greater than P. I hope that student you are clear. Student, sine rule of forces. Among total three forces, that is a single force and its two component magnitude of the each of those forces is proportional to sine ratio of angle inclined between other two sides. This is sine rules. So look at the board, student. Here two component P and Q and any force R. So here let student, here let any force R acting at a point O along OC, and the two components P and Q acting at a point along OA and OB respectively. I say again, student, here any force R acting at a point O along OC and their component P and Q acting at a point O along OA and OB respectively. Now here angle AOC equals to alpha and angle BOC equals to beta. Here angle AOC equals to alpha and angle BOC equals to beta. Now here angle BOC and angle ACO are equal, because so here beta alternate angle. Now student, here angle OAC, what is the angle AOC? So we can write here angle AOC equals to alpha, angle BOC equals to beta. So angle BOC equals to angle ACO, because here alternate angle, so angle ACO equals to beta. Similarly angle OAC equals to we know that students sum of three angle equals to 180 degree. So angle OAC equals to 180 degree minus alpha minus beta. So 180 degree minus alpha plus beta. So here 180 degree minus alpha plus beta. This is angle OAC. I say again, student, here angle AOC equals to alpha, angle OCA equals to beta, and OAC equals to 180 degree minus alpha plus beta. Now here OB, since OB parallel to AC, so this is Q. Now according to sine rules of forces, then here P by sine opposite angle is beta, so P by sine beta. Similarly Q by sine, student attention please, force Q, so opposite angle is alpha, so Q by sine alpha, and force R, so opposite angle is 180 degree minus alpha, so sine 180 degree minus alpha plus beta. This is sine rules. Two forces is proportional to sine ratio of angle inclined other two forces. So P by in triangle AOC, student attention please, in triangle AOC Here as here forces P, so opposite angle P. So P by sine beta equals to Q by sine alpha and R by sine 180 degree minus alpha plus beta. This is sine rules. Then we can write P by sine beta equals to Q by sine alpha equals to R by sine alpha plus beta, because here 90 into 2, so even multiple, so second quadrant sign is always positive. So this is sine rules. I hope that student you are clear. Student, determining the resolve part of forces is very important condition, resolve part. So attention please, look at the board here. What is resolve part? Let OX and OY be two lines perpendicular to each other, and any force F acting at a point O along OC, acting at a point along OC. Now here we draw AC perpendicular to X, OX, and another perpendicular, we draw another perpendicular CB or BC perpendicular on OY, and angle AOC equals to alpha. Attention please student, here OX and OY be two straight line perpendicular to each other at O. Now here the force F acting at a point O along OC, and we draw CA perpendicular to OX and BC perpendicular to OY. Now here angle AOC equals to alpha. So student, find the resolve part. Here resolve part is OA along OX and resolve part is OB along OY of the forces F, of the force F. Now student, attention please here. In triangle AOC, in triangle AOC, here angle is AOC is alpha, so it is perpendicular. AC is a perpendicular, OS is a base, and OC is a hypotenuse. Now we know that cos alpha equals to base by hypotenuse. Here base is OA and hypotenuse is OC. By cross multiplication, here OA equals to OC cos alpha. So we have OA equals to OC means F cos alpha. So student, this is resolve part of force F is F cos alpha along OA. Along OA means horizontally, along horizontal line OA. So we have resolve part of force F along OA, horizontal line OA is F cos alpha. Similarly, again in triangle AOC, and sine alpha equals to perpendicular, it is perpendicular AC by hypotenuse is OC. By cross multiplication, AC equals to OC sine alpha. Now student, attention please here, AC equals to OB, because AC equals to OB. Now OB equals to OC means F sine alpha. This is resolve part of force F along OA. OA means vertical line along vertical line OB is F sine alpha. So student, attention please. We have resolved part of force F along horizontal line OA is F cos alpha, and resolved part of force F along vertical line OB F sine alpha. So horizontal line F cos alpha and vertical line F sine alpha. So student, memorize it. Attention please. Here resolved part of force along horizontal line OA is F cos alpha, and vertical line along OB is F sine alpha. I hope that student you are clear. Student, theorem on resolved part is very important theorem. The algebraic sum of the resolved part of two coplanar forces acting at a point simultaneously in a given direction is equal to the resolved part of resultant in the same direction. This is resolved part theorem. So student, look at the board. Let OX and OY are perpendicular to straight line at O. Here OX and OY are x-axis and y-axis. Now here let P is a force acting at a point O along OA, and Q is another force acting at a point O along OB respectively, and their resultant force R acting at a point O along OC respectively. Here angle XO, let angle XOA is alpha and XOB equals to beta, and angle XOC equals to theta. I say again student, let OX and OY two straight line perpendicular to each other at O, and it is x-axis and y-axis. Now let P and Q be two forces acting at a point O along OA and OB respectively, and their resultant force are acting at a point O along OC. Here angle XOA, equals to alpha, angle XOB equals to beta, and angle XOC equals to theta. Now according to this theorem on resolved part, so taking, student attention please, taking resolved parts along horizontal line OX. So student, here by the resolved part theory we have resolved part of P is P cos alpha, because horizontal line OA, P cos alpha, plus resolved part of Q is Q cos beta equals to resolved part of resultant force R cos theta, because XOC equals to theta. I say again student, resolved part of P plus resolved part of Q equals to resolved part of resultant force R. This is taking resolved part along horizontal line OX. I say again student, so P cos alpha is a resolved part of P, and Q cos beta resolved part of Q, and R cos theta resolved part of resultant force R. So by the definition of resolved part theorem, sum of two resolved part equals to resultant resolved part. So student, taking resolve part along horizontal line OX, P cos alpha plus Q cos beta equals to R cos theta. Again, taking resolve part of resolved parts along vertical line OY. So this is P sine alpha plus Q sine beta equals to R sine theta. This is resolved part of horizontal line and this is resolved part of vertical line. So student here resolve part along vertical line OY equals to resolve part of P plus resolve part of Q equals to resolve part of resultant force R, P sine alpha plus Q cos sine beta equals to R sine theta. So horizontal line P cos alpha plus Q cos beta equals to R cos theta, and taking resolve parts along vertical line OY, P sine alpha plus Q sine beta equals to R sine theta. This is resolve part theorem. I hope that student you are clear. So see you again next class. Allah Hafiz.